Hi friends. Um, I got some hoop thoughts, and I what better place to share them than on my own YouTube, obviously. Um, and let me tell you where I got them from. So today, I y'all know I'm chronically online, and so I'm on Twitter, and this girl makes a tweet about um, she makes a tweet that says, I just came off of YouTube and the Honorable Cheryl Swoops put into perspective what is going on in Chicago with Tyler Marsh, and she said that he looks like he is in over his head. I respect her honesty because other people are trying to gaslight Sky fans into thinking otherwise. Free Barbie. Um, I saw that tweet and I kind of got annoyed. But one thing that I try not to do is make judgments about things without seeing, hearing, reading the information for myself. Um, I think that is a problem that we are dealing with. And I don't really want to go on a tangent, but I really need to say, like, that is part of the reason why sports talk, and specifically basketball talk, has gotten so bad recently. Not recently, but like in the recent years. And of course, I'm always gonna blame the NBA and the ESPN because whew, hot take culture is nuts. Um, but it's just begotten so bad because people hear something or they see something and they just run with it. They never take the time to look it up for themselves or like to understand the context. They just say it and repeat it and just trying to put a hot take, just trying to put a thought out there. And it's like, one, everything don't need your thoughts. But on the other side of that, it's just like, it's just annoying, right? Like, and so for me, this is why this is important in books and in hoops. Like, get your own understanding, create your own context. Like, think for yourself, okay? Like, if you see something or you read something or you whatever, um, actually, if you see something online from, let's say, your favorite book influencer um, or your favorite sports pundit, whatever, and they say something that you like, it's cool. It's cool for you to take that in, but if they're giving you an opinion about something, don't just take it for blood, bro. Like, think for yourself. And if you come to that same conclusion on your own, great, fantastic. But at least you took the time to understand what was happening and then make a distinction. Um, so to go back. So the tweet I read for y'all just now, I saw that tweet and I honestly, if y'all have watched any of my videos, even on TikTok, especially on TikTok, I hate narratives right now, and I hate the narratives around Chicago, Dallas. I just hate it. I hate it so bad, um, and it's bothering me. Like, and I've been talking about this on the pod too. Just I want to free myself from the discourse, but because I'm chronically online, it's all the stuff I see. I have began to mute people and stuff like that, so I don't have to see it. But um, it's just becoming hard, especially when people that sometimes, like, people that I feel like I ain't gonna say I once respected, because I ain't gonna say I don't respect them now, but people that I respect or like, or generally has good things to say about things that I like. It hurts me when I see them now repeating things that they clearly just seen on the internet that they did not think about. And that's not to say that then maybe that's not a fair assessment, because like I said, you could hear somebody say something and draw the same conclusion. But I just kind of be I just be kind of like, how could you hear this one thing and still draw that same conclusion when looking at other evidence? Like, how did you get there? Um, anyway, let me get to the point of the rant I need to get off. Um, so the tweet, I saw it and I was like, In my mind, I was like, Cheryl ain't say that. But then I was like, you never know. You never know, right? So I decided to, I found out which podcast it was from, and it was from, um, actually, I can just show y'all yeah. Um, this is my Twitter thread, but let me go to YouTube. Actually, why am I going to YouTube? I don't need to go to YouTube. So, the podcast that this came from, if you decide you want to listen to it for yourself, is Women's Hoops Podcast. Actually, that's where I was going so that I can watch. It's actually right here. That is so crazy. I didn't even watch this on my home computer. I watched it when I was at work. But this is the video that I'm talking about that was posted 8 hours ago. Anyway, Women's Hoop Show, WNBA Weekly, whatever, with Jordan Robinson and Cheryl Swoops. That's so crazy. See, the universe wanted me to talk about this. But anyway, I watched that whole video, and before I watched the video, I was like, oh, I'm gonna just do a couple of quick tweets, because I only really set out to watch, to hear explicitly what Cheryl said about the wings and about the sky. But, and I say this in my thread, the timestamps are wrong. Little things, and this often happens in sports, but little things that are wrong really bother me. Okay, like if you telling a story and you get one part of the story wrong, like maybe everything else was true, but you get that one part of the story wrong, I'm probably gonna fixate on that, because why don't you have all the details straight? So, saying that to say, when I watched that video, in the timestamps are wrong, and they put hashtag Utah Valkyries, and I don't know if that's a joke or a mistake. It feels like a mistake, but anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what they actually said in the video that kind of pissed me off. And this is like my least favorite part of it. It goes back to my favorite thing of people hearing things on the internet and not really thinking about it themselves. And maybe they didn't do this, but this is how I feel. It feels like they did this. So anyway, tweet. They start with the wings, and basically they're talking about the Chris Koclanes looking confused and him not knowing what to do in a timeout, and all the players looking like they've regressed. And while the Wings are 1-9, and that's not a good record, they haven't played consistently good, great basketball. All of this just feels so unfair to them. And explicitly and specifically the part where they say she talked about how people were recording him the timeouts and he wasn't prepared. There's this one video that was going around on Twitter where this is in the game where the Lynx are playing the Wings. Cheryl Miller, Lord, what's the other lady's name? The head coach of the Minnesota. That's Cheryl Reeve. I don't know. Anyway, Cheryl Reeve calls a timeout, okay? And she calls a timeout, so she's preparing her timeout. Chris and his group is in a circle. They talking. And on the bench, they got Nola Henry and the rest of the team. And Nola just talking to them. And ever since that video came out, it kind of, the dialogue started before that, but that video came out and it's just been circulating, and people are like comparing Chris's approach to timeouts to Cheryl Reeve's approach to timeout. First of all, that's unfair to him. He is not Cheryl Reeve, and we don't have to do things like Cheryl Reeve. Cheryl Reeve has been coaching in the WNBA for like Cheryl Reeve is a Lynx legend. Why are you comparing a first-year head coach to her? It's almost disrespectful. And then they're saying the other part about it that pissed me off was like, she said that, oh, they expect Paige Beckers to lead the team and that's out of her depths. No, it's not. They picked Paige Beckers as the #1 pick because they wanted the weight to go on her back. Not And I don't think and when I say that, I mean to say, like, people are always saying, well, Paige need to get, Enrique need to get Paige the keys, Enrique need to get Paige the keys. This is what they're trying to do. But what's not clicking for y'all is that it's not gonna look pretty. Any team led by a rookie is not going to be that great. It's just the reality, okay? It's just the reality of the situation. And to say that that's out of Paige Becker's depth is crazy. Paige has been prepared to be a pro for a long time, and I don't like. To me, she's always been ready to lead a team. So to say that that's out of her depth is crazy. Like, that's just crazy. And then moreover, they didn't even talk about the fact. And they explicitly said Enrique is playing off ball and it looks bad. And it's like, duh, it looks bad. Enrique has never played off ball. Like, on any and almost every team Enrique has been on, she has been the focal point. She has been the girl. She has the ball in her hand. If you are saying this is going to be Paige Becker's team in the future and you want Enrique here for the ride, y'all have to figure that out. And that's not going to happen in 10 games. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen in 10 games. It might not even happen in 40. But you know what? At the end of the season, that's when you look back and you say, well, what could have went better? Who fit? Who didn't fit? Was there a vision here? Was there not a vision here? And all of that has nothing to do with winning. It just doesn't. Like, yes, winning is good and it feels great and all of that, yada, yada, yada. But, like, you are essentially starting a new team. The Dallas Wings are essentially a new team. They have 3 people on there who have played, who played on this team last year. Everybody here is new, playing with each other. Why would you, like, I don't understand why y'all think they would have it figured out. Or that they would look good doing it. And then they said something about the players regressing. You know why they look like they're regressing? Because everybody has a bigger role. Everybody has to do more than what they originally were doing. Dejanay could look excellent and amazing and like the most improved player in Connecticut because all she had to really go out there and do is defend. Okay? Now, here in Dallas, with her 2 point guards being Ty Harris and Paige Beckers being out, means that somebody has to initiate the offense. And Enrique can't do it every time. So, yeah, they're asking Dejanay to initiate the offense. And that's not her bag. She's working on it. She's starting to look good. But that's not her bag. So, yeah, they look crazy. I don't, but that is not a, and what they keep trying to sell is that this is because they look this bad because of Chris. And I'm just not there. I cannot get there. Even in that Lynx game the other day, they walked them down. The Lynx was up probably like 10. The Wings got it within 1. They go into the 4th quarter. And do you know the Wings missed like 7 straight shots? They went like 4 or 5 minutes without scoring. Chris cannot fix that. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, he can get you to run some plays and to do some things differently. And I'm sure I don't recall them looking crazy from watching that game, but like, he can't make the shot for you. Like, they have to do something. And if your star players can't hit shots in the late game, you're not gonna win. It's just not gonna happen. And that is like a thing that they are constantly. That's another thing that comes. And I didn't mean to spend this much time on the Dallas Wings, but it feels unfair that people keep trying to say Chris Koclanes is a bad coach. I get this. He's a rookie and things don't look pretty right now, but like, he's a rookie head coach and things don't look pretty, but like, bro, get a man a moment to breathe. And it's also upsetting me because they keep comparing him to Teaspoon. They keep comparing both him and Tyler Marsh to Teaspoon. And I need people to realize that Chicago won 13 games. They were a 10 seed. They very easily could have been on an 11 seed. Like y'all be like people keep talking about the Chicago Sky like they were a 7 seed. Yeah, they were playing hard. Yeah, Angel was getting double doubles. Yeah, Camilla was more aggressive when scoring. All of that is fantastic and great. But that roster is not built like this roster. And that's just the reality of it. It and they're still like they were still losing. They were still losing, bro. They were still losing. They were still losing. So like I need everybody to get a grip. This is the other part that pissed me off. Somebody on Twitter said that Lisa Leslie applied for the Dallas Wings job, and they said that their source was AI, and people still ran with that. Y'all don't know if that's true or not, so why would you repeat it? Why would you repeat it? Sure, you know Lisa in real life. Why didn't you call her and ask her? Why? Why are you repeating things that you don't know if they're true? Like I don't think people realize that you're creating controversy that did not need to be there. That it just didn't. We didn't need to do that. Anyways, they talked about Natalie Nakase. I don't know why I always want to turn it wrong. And how good Golden State looks. Shout out to Natalie because they have looked really good. I haven't watched them play a lot, but I've been mostly entertained. They talked about the Connecticut Sun, Rashid Mezzanine, and they talked about him also like trying to figure out what the expectations are for him because he has a lot of international experience, but he's never played in coached in the WNBA, so he doesn't know that system. So whatever. It wasn't really positive, but it wasn't really negative. But in my opinion, everybody not named Stephanie White, all of the new coaches not named Stephanie White should probably get grace. Some of them have better roster constructions, which they go on to talk about the Atlanta Dream and how good they look. But Atlanta's roster is mostly the same. Their core is mostly the same. They just added BG and Bree Jones, and Bree Jones can fit literally anywhere. And BG actually looks like she's excited to play basketball, so I don't really think that was a hard transition either. Carlos Mesco is doing a good job. They look good, whatever. But they also gave, which confused me is, I think what really confused me is like outside of dragging the Wings and dragging this, like pretty much dragging all of these coaches except the Dream, the Sparks. Who else didn't they drag? The Fever. And the Mystics. It's honestly, it was just strange how this happened because they got to Stephanie White and said the Fever are doing fine. When guys, we've lost like 5 games. We're like 3-5. And I get that CC is out, which I think is what they're giving Stephanie White grace for. But in my opinion, we should not look like this without Caitlin Clark. And yet nobody said that. Stephanie White has worked in this league for how long? And yet you give her more grace when she has injured players, but you're not going to give the rookie head coaches who are new to this grace? That don't make sense. And I feel like there's some animosity because of the whole teaspoon situation and maybe even some of the Lisa Leslie allegations, but that just doesn't make sense. That just doesn't make sense. They talked about Carl Smecko being really good despite them losing to Connecticut, when it's like you might should have whacked them a little bit for losing to Connecticut. The Fever also lost to Connecticut. You didn't give that man any credit for beating those two. Like they didn't give the Connecticut coach any credit for beating them 2 teams. Like, hello. And this is also like, this is actually where I was already kind of annoyed watching it, but like I got even more annoyed when they got to the Sparks because she talked about Jordan Robinson used to work for the Pac-12, I guess, and Utah. Lynn Roberts used to be the head coach of Utah, who used to be in the Pac-12, and so she knows her, I guess. And she's talking about how the Sparks look okay when the Sparks are like, the Sparks have won like 2 games, bro. And it's funny because it's really funny to me because on the pod, Don has said that like on paper, the Sparks should be better. The Sparks are 3-7. The Sparks are 3-7, and you were talking about they're okay. And I think it made me matter because she was like, well, we don't know what their full team looks like because Ray Burrell and Cameron Brink are out. And I was like, Paige Beckers and Ty Harris are out. Like, what are you, like, how are you giving this other lady? And in my opinion, the Sparks are much more talented. I ain't gonna say much more talented, but the Sparks are more talented than the Wings. And they said the Wings are more talented than Golden State. But obviously Golden State has a better record. I'm saying the Sparks are more talented than the Wings. The Sparks are more talented. Like, those players, that roster is more talented than Golden State. And guess what the Sparks have done twice against Golden State? Lost. You are and you don't even, they don't even, LA don't even have the excuse of we got rookie players because you're led by Kelsey Plum, a 2-time champion. De'Erica Hamby, 2-time Sixth Player of the Year, like Odyssey Sims, Julie Aleman, she just went out for Eurobasket. But like, you are a team primarily made up of vets. Something that really isn't that true for the Wings. But you give her grace? Okay. And then they got to Sydney. She talked about Lynn Roberts and Sydney Johnson in the same like little segment, and just was like, they think that Sydney Johnson is like underrated, and that he's doing a good job, and he's just like letting his rookies cook, which is great. Like, he is doing a good job. I actually really like Sydney Johnson. I think despite the Mystics record, I think they look really good. Yeah, I think they look good. But I think it just bothers me that the Mystics, who are your leading scorers, I mean, they got their leading scorer is Brittany Sykes, but everybody behind them is your next player up after Brittany Sykes is Kiki Iriafen and Sonia Cintron. When you look at the LA Sparks, you have Kelsey Plum, De'Erica Hamby, Odyssey Sims. It need to be Rakia Jackson, but my point is that like you have 3 vets and they get an okay. But it seemed like she was even confused to say the Mystics were kind of good. Like and this I'm not saying all to say that you can't have an opinion and you have to be unbiased when you talk about sports, because that's just like not a realistic thing. But I'm just, especially from people who are journalists, I expect them to call a spade, right? Like, even if you do like somebody, it's okay to say that they're not doing great, that they underperformed. And the fact that you don't have a problem doing that with people you don't know and you're not close, like, I don't know, I just have to question you. Like, I have to question, why are you even saying that? Because like, now to me it honestly feels like people are dogpiling on Tyler Marsh and Chris Koclanes, like, because it's a fun thing to do. And it's like, if you're going to talk about them, give context. Talk about why you think they're bad. If you really think that they're that bad, talk about what's happening on the floor that makes you think that they're that bad. You know what I'm saying? What is happening other than, oh, the players look confused? Do the players look confused because they're not running the plays right? Do they look confused because the plays don't work? Like, that's just not enough. Like, I just feel like I expect more from people who've been in a sports space and have talked about sports for a long time. That just feels so unacceptable. Like, this whole conversation, and again, journalists are just people too, right? Like, it's not going to be perfect. Everything they want is not going to be, everything they say or do is not going to be right or correct. It's just like, bruh, like, don't just repeat what you saw on the internet. Like, make it substantial, right? And they ended, well, they ended, well, right before the end of the day, they did a whole thing about Chicago. And it's kind of clear to me that there's some ill feelings about Teaspoon not being there. And personally, I agree with the idea that they did Teaspoon wrong. Like, I think she should have, I don't know what happened in that locker room. I'm not even going to speculate about it. But I'm never going to be on the side of giving any head coach less than 3 years. After year 3 and you ain't got something figured out, all right, wrap it up. But you need time. You need players. You need these things. You have to work on these things. So, like, while I don't think that what happened to Teaspoon was right, I'm also not going to sit down and, like, bang these people over the head, you know, to the Tyler Marsh thing. They've been saying that he looks so confused, that the team isn't buying into what he's saying. Cheryl Swoops made a comment about Camilla needing a coach that believes in her, and Angel, like, not being able to, like, play hard or whatever, or not playing as hard. She just, like, looking to always pass it out. And it's like, have you watched the Chicago Sky play? Have you listened to anything Tyler Marsh has ever said? Because this entire time, Tyler Marsh has been saying, we want to run our offense through Camilla. We do. That's what they want. But you know, we can't, like, Camilla has to be ready for that. Camilla has to be prepared. Camilla has to play aggressively. That has to be true if they want that to work. Angel's not playing the same way she was last year because she can't. And I ain't gonna say she can't, but I think everybody talked about Angel's development and all that kind of stuff, and I do think that Angel has gotten some stuff in Unrivaled and got more comfortable with stuff. But the part of development is, like, not going back to your bad habits. And if Angel wants to improve her game, she has to do things differently. The scout is out, okay? I feel like I've been saying this. I feel like I keep saying that, but it is. The sophomores, they're going to be in slumps. They're going to have bad games. They're not going to be able to do what they did in the previous year. Why? Because people know how to defend them. You know, if you know Angel is going to come down, dribble, and she going to try to bump you first so she can get the layup, now you can stand there and draw the charge. If you know Camilla don't really want to deal with the physicality, if you bump her a little bit, she'll give up her seal. They're going to do that now. They're going to do that now. They're going to do that now because they know how to defend you. It's just the reality of it. If a team knows that, oh, well, they can't, if I defend, Lord Jesus, if I defend the lead ball handler hard enough, you know, if I know that they're not a strong dribbler or whatever, strong passer, whatever, if I know if I stop this person, I can stop this offense from happening. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're gonna do. And it's true for everybody. It happens to every player. The sophomore slump is real. The players have to work through that. They do. Angel just versus New York. I think she just liked playing against Stewie, to be honest. I feel like she always come and really play her best games. She got played against Stewie, but she looked good. She was taking shots. And it's crazy because people are gonna be like, well, Tyler Marsh didn't want her doing that before. And it's like, yes, he has. This team is set up for Camilla and Angel to cook. Okay? But when you are relying on year two bigs to be good, it's gonna be some other struggles. It's gonna be some other struggles. Like, let's be clear, it's gonna be some other problems. And then the players around them, like, you had Sloot, she goes down. Things are gonna change now. Things are gonna change. They have to do things differently. You got an Ariel Atkins. They're like, Ariel Atkins doesn't fit on this team. Ariel Atkins is starting to get more shot attempts since the first game. She's getting there. And again, Chicago is another example of these players, these role players, have to do more. Okay? Ariel Atkins, yeah, we need her to get a bucket, but we also need her to pass to the bigs. Kia Nurse, Rachel Bannum, Haley Van Lith, like, they're not really point guards, but they're gonna have to initiate some offense around here if they want to get on this floor. Like, you're asking people who don't normally do these things to do more, and that's for the most part, it's not gonna be pretty. It's just not gonna be pretty. And I hate the idea that, like, some coach is out of their depth because their offense doesn't look perfect after 10 games. Especially given the roster construction issues. Like, y'all want to keep saying that these coaches are bad. They have y'all are on one hand saying that these players are so talented and all of this, but also say that these coaches are so bad that these players can't get right. It's like, no. Why does it have to be that? Why can't they just be learning how to play together? These people don't know each other. Chicago has what? Dallas has 3 people returning. Chicago had Angel, Camilla, E. Will, who didn't even really get to play because she tore her ACL 4 games in. So you got Angel and Camilla and Rachel Bannum, who also didn't play until the second half of the season, and that's when most of the second half of the season when Chicago was losing the most. Rachel Bannum and Mariah Jefferson. Mariah Jefferson hasn't played a minute. Y'all are asking people who never played together for real to come together and beat teams like the Lynx. Beat the Seattle Storm. Like, beat Phoenix. And I know Phoenix is they got some, like, rookies too. They got their big 3, but the rest of their team is mostly, like, older rookie players. So I feel like maybe some there, but, like, having Alyssa Thomas on your team is so much different than having a Kia Nurse. And that's no shade to Kia Nurse because she's a good basketball player in her own right, but, like, they're not the same. The construction is not the same. And so expecting these teams to have knowing how these rosters were constructed and still saying that these coaches are terrible is crazy. Because some of these things they just can't fix. They just can't. And I've been talking about this for a long time. And honestly, hopefully by me getting out this video, I won't have to. It'll be easier for me to not dwell on some of these narratives as much because it's just kind of ridiculous. It's kind of getting ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous and it's unfair. And it just really makes me question, like, if people actually like basketball. Because people always talk about it like so much of basketball talk has like become about wins and losses and rings, and it's just like there is so much more to basketball than the final score. So many more things go into it. And I feel like I just have this expectation, which maybe it isn't fair, but I have this expectations for journalists and people who say they love the game and they're committed to the game to like put care into it, to care about it, to 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 handle it with grace. Like I don't I if the media and all that stuff be making me feel like I'm insane to feel that way, but like I know I'm not wrong. Like we don't have to talk about basketball like this. I promise you we don't. Like there's a place for fun and drama and criticism and all of that, but like we can talk about basketball in good faith. Okay? Like we can talk about basketball with nuance. We can talk about basketball with care, with correct detail, with context. We can talk about basketball in all its layers. We can even debate about it because we don't have to agree about everything, but it's just so much of media, especially about around women's basketball now. It's just like it almost feels like it's led by stan culture. Stan culture has taken over so many things, from music to like everybody. I can't remember who made the tweet, but like everybody thinks they're a business exec. Everybody thinks they're a GM. Girl, you are a fan. You're a fan. Look at what you got on the floor. Make your critiques, make your comments, but you don't own any of that. It's not yours. You can like it and it's fun, but it's not yours. And so you worried about these nitty bitty details that you can't control. Like the head coach is not gonna get fired because you trying to bully him online. You're being weird. You're just being weird, and you're being a bully. Because the moment things turn around, the moment things turn around, you're gonna change your tune. And I hate that. I hate it. Like I hate that so bad. I hate it. Like this entire time, it's okay to like say things. I'm a strong proponent for if you get new information about something, change your mind. You should. You absolutely should. But I'm not a strong proponent of you reading things or you just hearing things and you just keep repeating it. Whether you agree with it or you don't, but you keep repeating it. And you keep saying it. And you don't even understand necessarily what that means, but you keep repeating it because you feel like it's a cool and fun and a great thing to say when it's not. It's not. If you cannot back up what you're saying, don't say it. And if it's not factual, don't say it. Like, just stop. Anyway. That's my rant. That's my rant about basketball. If you do nothing else today, or for the rest of your life, read things on your own. Listen to things on your own. Come up with your own critiques. Okay? Even if you draw the same conclusion or opinion as somebody else, make sure it's your own. Okay? Make sure it was a thought that you said 1 + 1 = 2. And I can prove that. I can substantiate that. I have a reason why I feel this way.